Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to Cross and Kin. This is the show where you tune in every other week or so to hear what we think. Thank you, by the way, about stuff. Who knew there was a YouTube channel such as this? I know one person who knew. His name was Bond. James Bond. And today we have a spectacular treat for you. I've been looking forward to this video so long.
Since it's November, and we've already established. We established last year. November is where Bond belongs.
That's exactly where Bond belongs. So many of the films that were released in November. In fact, Tammy and I had a standing date when we were dating that the next Bond picture would be a date. We had to save money. Of course, we were in college,
They
and so
still
on.
had this standing date because I remember y'all going to see Daniel Craig's movies up to uh Spectre.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Spectre. Yeah, Spectre.
In November.
In in November. Yeah, that without any of us girls, it was their date, and we all understood that.
So, hey, welcome to Crossing Kin. This is the Crossing Kin Garage. I'm Randy.
And I'm Kristen,
and we are the Crosses.
Established, we're doing something involving Bond, and as you may be able to see from all the CDs behind us, we're doing something involving Bond music.
Well, let's do a couple of things before we delve into this.
Okay.
The world of James Bond is everything that we love. There are books, there is music, there's video, there is just all kinds of great stuff.
There's not a TV show yet, but give it time.
There was one TV show. In the early days, PBS had a Jimmy Bond it was not a very good TV show, but James Bond has been on television, not as an extended series,
Kin boxes,
but it ticks all the Crossing Kin boxes. We love James Bond here at the Crossing Kin Garage.
Today we are taking a look at the music that pervades the opening credits of every single James Bond movie except for one. Dr. No does not have one of these theme songs. It is the only one of the James Bond films without one of these theme songs, unless you want to argue that Three Blind Mice thingy.
What Kristen is talking about is most of the James Bond films have an opening credits theme song. Mm-hmm. And especially in recent years, it has become something that really hits the charts and soars up. Although the last two or three haven't really been.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
This is not necessarily a top 10 or whatever. This is a ranking. We are looking at all 24 of these Bond theme songs.
So strap in quickly because we're going to be going bam, 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 or ba-dum, ba, ba-dum, ba. We love James Bond here.
Hopefully YouTube doesn't get on to us for using that theme song.
One of the things Christian just did point out, though, Dr. No was the original film, and it set up all of these songs that we're about to talk about.
It with did the have James an opening Bond thing. Sequence,
yes.
But
yes.
It didn't include a personalized song specifically for Dr. No.
It was a Calypso themed Three Blind Mice.
And I think it started with John Barry's 007 theme. Not the I think it was segued into, and then it segued into the Calypso Three Blind Mice.
Yeah.
So,
but it does set up all of the thematic elements that we'll have a conversation about as we go forward.
Alrighty. I'm going to be keeping hold of the notebook since Daddy knows way more about all this stuff. We thought it would just be easier to have me reading the things today. So let's dive in. We've got 24 songs to get through. At number 24, we have Man with the Golden Gun by Lulu from Man with the Golden Gun.
I think it's important to establish, this is our countdown.
Our ranking.
Our ranking of all of the titular theme songs from all of these films. Now, Man with the Golden Gun is it's one of the strongest films, more strong films. Yeah. But I think it really suffered. Lulu did this, and I think she had one other song. She made the rounds of movie soundtracks about this time and was a hot property. And that's one of the common elements, as you'll find, is they do a great job at Eon Productions of finding who is the hot musical property at the time and engaging them in making soundtracks. Lulu was the hot moment. I don't really remember anything popular that she had. It's a strong song, but in lieu of some of the other songs that we'll talk about, it's the weakest of the Bond
This
films.
song also does have like a weird vibe to it. Like it's mostly a fast song, but then we stop and have this weird operatic
Yeah.
bridge, I guess bridge, and then we go right back into the fast. It doesn't make rhythmic sense to me, really. So that's why I had no problem putting it this low. I am going to say before we go any further, the movies themselves do not have any bearing on where we put these songs. The quality of the movies has nothing to do with where these songs wound up.
Right. We like The Man with the Golden Gun. We think
Yeah,
it's a strong
it's the
premise.
one with Christopher Lee in it.
It's the one with Christopher Lee in it, and it as a film.
One of these days we will rank the movies, but that will take much longer because Dad and I do not agree on some of these movies. We had some lively discussions about where these songs
And
needed to
that will
go.
probably be a two-part Crossing Kin,
Yeah, that will definitely be a video that we have to break up.
possibly Bond Month 2026.
We'll see. All right. Moving right along, at number 23, we have Moonraker by Shirley Bassey from Moonraker.
This Shirley Bassey is incredible association with the James Bond.
We'll talk more about her as our ranking goes
Absolutely,
on.
this is her absolute weakest song. I part of it is part of it is it just it's a bad
It's
song.
too slow.
It's well, not necessarily the tempo of the song, but just for
The
her
lyrically.
voice, it is not a good song.
Mhm.
She needs some of the songs that we'll talk about coming down the 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 countdown. And so this is just of the Shirley Bassey Bonds, the weakest one.
She there's not a part for her to belt in this
Very
song.
good.
It's very slow and operatic. It's not a Shirley Bassey song.
No, it's really not a Shirley Bassey song. That's true.
All right, at number 22, we have You Only Live Twice by Nancy Sinatra from You Only Live Twice.
These boots were made for walking, and she should have walked out on this song.
My,
Just saying.
my dad.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan of Nancy Sinatra.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of Nancy Sinatra. And I think she wrote on the coattails of her dad. And but she did have a couple of hit records that were shining about the time this film came out, or in the production time of the film.
Mhm.
And so she I mean she took advantage of her name, took advantage of her popularity at the time, and took advantage of these boots are made for walking. A lot of similar elements you're going to find as we go through this Bond countdown is that other than Bond, they might have only one other hit on popular radio. So those boots should have walked right on out of you.
Will say that a very fond memory I have from growing up is I think we were on a road trip and Katie and I this came on our playlist and we sang the lyrics and Dad said he looked at Mom and said we should be proud that our girls know the lyrics even to one of the worst Bond songs. So I knew this was going to be low on the ranking because I still have that memory. But yeah, this is because of him I have a lot of these songs memorized. Try me on any Bond music trivia karaoke night. I'll school you.
She's there.
He's trained me. All right. At number 21, we have Diamonds Are Forever by Shirley Bassey,
Another
also from Diamonds Are Forever.
great. It's a good film. It's Sean Connery's comeback,
Last
so
film.
to speak.
It's also his last
It's
film.
also his last.
But the
Well,
film, we're not
other than
talking the
Never Say
films.
Never
We're
Again.
not talking the films.
But it's just a weak song for Shirley Bassey for some of the reasons that you mentioned before.
Mhm.
It's much more melodic, and she has a kind of a punchy voice that needs to soar, and she doesn't get the opportunity to soar in that song.
What saves it is the last note. That's why it's not
Right,
lower.
right,
That's why it
right.
is not lower.
And Shirley Bassey loved the lady's voice. I think these songs were just not written well.
All right. At number 20, we have Die Another Day by Madonna from Die Another Day.
Madonna's not one of my favorite artists. She has been around for a long since the '80s. Okay, for over 40 years, and this is a good Bond theme. Okay, and it fits with what they're doing in the film. It fits very, very well. She also has a cameo in the film, but it's just one of those.
It doesn't sit right in your
It
ears.
doesn't sit. I personally, Madonna and the Bond franchise shouldn't go together. That's a personal conviction on my part. I think it's a good song. I just think there are so many other better songs.
All right. At number 19, we have Tomorrow Never Dies by Sheryl Crow from Tomorrow Never
I
Dies.
love Sheryl Crow. I love her voice, and I think she did a good job on this one. This song suffers from the fact that the film wasn't as good as some of the other films. And don't get me wrong, we're again we're not talking about the films, but the songs do. The box office of the film plays into how well the song is done and how well the song is received. The music with Bond is a part of it's one of the characters. And Tomorrow Never Dies, it just is you're wanting Cheryl Crow needs to be Americana.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to be
A little bit country.
the soundtrack. Well, her last record was a country record. Um,
She did Cars.
she did the Cars soundtrack, and that's her lane, so to speak. If I can take off the
So
Cars,
the slow,
this trying to
dramatic.
be a sultry songstress thing was it just didn't bode well with me.
All right. Good to go on. At number 18, we have Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith from Spectre.
I'm not a fan of Sam Smith. I don't like his voice. I don't like his I don't like his politics. I don't like Sam Smith. And I think he is one of these artists that are going to be a one-hit wonder that in 20 years we may not even talk about being a one-hit wonder. I think the song itself is
It's
good.
well written.
I think it's well written. I think it's good for the film.
Mm-hmm.
It matches the film well, but I just think they should have gotten a different singer.
All right. At number 17, we have Thunderball by Tom Jones.
What's new, Pussycat?
Stop it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know
That's
he
what
has
this.
other songs.
Yes, I heard with Delilah on the way home today, and
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
yeah, and this song is not unusual to be loved by anybody. So it's
Like Thunderball.
Thunderball, but it showcases Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean
His
it
range.
is very, very much Tom Jones. But just like with Madonna, I don't think Tom Jones and Bond there's not a melding there that with some of these other artists they're ranked low but I still feel like that they were okay coming into the Bond universe. Tom Jones,
I do have a fun fact
too
about this
campy.
song.
Go
I
ahead.
During the recording of this song, the last note, the thunder, oh, Tom Jones held it out so long that he actually passed out in the recording booth. So, if nothing else, he had dedication to the
Props.
song.
It's again, I am in awe of Tom Jones's range, his power. I just don't know that his voice and his vocal chops portend a Bond film.
All right. At number 16, we have No Time to Die by Billie Eilish from No Time to Die. I want to say first, you can very easily sing No Time to Die and Writing on the Wall at the same time, and there is no issue. These are basically the same songs. That is the reason I made this as low as it is because it is basically the same as Writings on the Wall with a couple more Bond flourishes,
Yeah,
if you will.
I totally agree. This for Billie Eilish and her brother to have written this,
It's well written. It
it's
just
a
needed a different rhythm.
lyrically it needed a different melody,
Yeah.
different chord structure. It needed something different. And these days, it seems like the last 5 or 6 Bond songs
Hmm.
have been the slow, drawn out,
The last three,
piercing.
anyway.
Just you're like, okay,
2 or 3.
let's get a upbeat, and we'll talk about some of the higher. You may notice some of the higher ranked songs are the faster tempoed
Hmm.
songs on our Bond ranking. This one, I like Billie Eilish's music. Don't get me wrong. I just don't. I think they copied and paste.
They did. Again,
Uh,
it is not hard to mash up writings on the wall with No Time to Die. I do it. I actively do it whenever I'm listening to either of these songs just to continue to test it. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's no issue here. I can just sing both of these. And they're about the same length. So you
right.
can sing the entirety of both songs at the same time and you're good.
I don't want to accuse them of phoning it in, but man,
Well, look.
there's just a
They did win a Grammy, I think.
yeah, but
But I
it's
don't
the
think they
same
won it for
song.
best original song. I think they
Yeah.
might have won it for songwriting. I don't remember though. At number 15, we have "From Russia with Love" by Matt Monro from Russia with Love.
This is you may have never heard of Matt Monro. He
I
was
haven't.
one of those easy listening crooners from the mid to late '60s. He was a great voice, great voice. Um, and we're beginning to see as we're going up our list. This is what number
15.
Okay, so we're not quite halfway there, but you're beginning to see the quality of the lyrics, and this is one of the first films that really attempted to match what the film's plot was going to be about as well. And so you're sitting there and you're just like, okay, all right. But it's another one of those slow songs, and you're just like, James Bond is not a slow storyline. So please, just kind of flow through. Matt Monroe does a beautiful job. Lyrics are great with this one. Um, it's just not as good as the 14 that we've ranked above it.
At number 14, we have "The World Is Not Enough" by Garbage
One
from "The
hit,
World Is Not Enough."
one hit wonder.
And this was their hit.
And this was their hit. No, actually, they had another top 40 song that I don't recall in the 90s. But this is another case of Eon taking that flavor of the month type band. Good band, don't get me wrong. Certainly a quintessential band that you need to go and discover from the 90s. I'm not even sure that they're together anymore,
I don't
but
think they are.
it's one of those, um, and it's a good song that matches the movie. So,
And it actually has lines from the movie.
right.
I didn't notice that until my most recent rewatch of The World Is Not Enough. But there are actively like hints and clues and lines from the movie. The "There's no point in living if you can't feel alive"
Right,
line
right.
is one of Elektra's lines from. So that this is one of those songs that I feel blends the best with its movie.
I agree. I think it's just a good song. Garbage did a good a job
Job.
with it. I just don't know that they got their props
Mm.
as a band in the '90s.
All right, moving right along. We have "On Her Majesty's Secret Service." I'm not certain who does this. Is it John Barry's
I
orchestra?
think it's John Barry. Yes,
And it's from "On Her Majesty's Secret Service." This is the only instrumental, purely instrumental Bond theme song,
only
but it's
instrumental,
beautiful.
and it sets up. It builds off of the themes before it,
Hmm.
and it takes and makes themes for the
This
future.
is George's, right?
This is George Lazenby's, his only film, and I still think, and many might disagree, but this is one of the strongest films in the franchise.
I agree.
It to me, it
It's
is.
got some silly moments, but it also has probably some of the more dramatic moments in the entire franchise. But we're not discussing the films today.
Right,
Talk about the
and it's
music.
got Louis Armstrong at the end.
Yes, but unfortunately, his song did not happen during the credits. So, "All the Time in the World,"
All the time
as
in the world.
lovely as Mr. Louis Armstrong did, and as much as we do adore "All the Time in the World," it's not an official Bond theme.
Yeah,
We're
it's not
sorry.
the theme. So, on
This
Her Majesty's,
instrumental is.
this instrumental is incredible. Lots of brass, which I'm a fan of, and it's cussive, and it's just, and it's a faster tempo, and it just, whew, it's good. It really sets up a lot of the themes that will later reoccur in the music, the overall soundtracks as you go down the pike.
All right. At number 12, we're halfway there. We have "Another Way to Die" by Alicia Keys and Jack White from "Quantum of Solace."
Okay, this is a phenomenal blending of two artists at their time, probably at their peak.
Mm.
Jack White from the White Stripes and Alicia Keys is this incredibly gifted pianist and soul singer, and this is a good song.
This is like a vibing
It's
song.
but it's kind of
It's got an interesting groove to it.
but it's also kind of a time capsule.
Hmm.
It just fits the year it
I
came
think
out.
it's like 2009,
Yeah, something
something
like
like
that.
that.
It is a mid to late 2000s song that when you start hearing it, you immediately identify it with the time period.
Mm.
And that's okay. It's a very good song. Middle of the pack. Let's see what the next 11 are.
At number 11, we have License to Kill by Gladys Knight. I have another fun fact on this one. We almost didn't get Gladys Knight on this track because since she is a devout Christian, she had an issue with singing kill so many times in the song.
Yeah,
I'm very glad that she did ultimately choose to do it because it's Gladys Knight and I love this song.
Gladys Knight, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated behind Diana Ross, behind Donna Summer, artists, female artists in musical history. She and the Pips did some incredibly cool stuff.
Midnight Train to Georgia is theirs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the 60s, and her voice is instantly recognizable. Instantly recognizable. The year that she was on Masked Singer, I was like,
She sang two
Gladys Knight.
notes and he
I nailed
clocked
it.
her.
I clocked her. It was there. It was done. She's just got this unique, beautiful voice. Um, Gladys Knight, and her voice kind of plays into almost that Shirley Bassey vibe
Hmm.
that Bond is associated with. So love
Well,
it. Number
well
11.
done, Miss Knight. We love you quite a bit. Number 10, we have All Time High by Rita Coolidge from Octopussy.
Yeah, All Time High is a great Bond song. A very good Bond song from a not so good Bond movie. It is one of the
Really?
weaker Bond films, but it does
It
it
was
just
Roger Moore's last,
it
wasn't
was
it?
I don't remember if it was last.
Or next to
It
last.
was very close. It was the film that showed us that Roger Moore probably needed to retire the tuxedo. Um, but
Okay.
the music that this song was, I think the song got undercut because of how poorly received the film was.
Mm.
All Time High, Rita Coolidge is a phenomenal voice. The song matched well with what was going on in the beginning credits. Just a good song, but just didn't get the props because the film wasn't great.
All right. At number 9, we have Goldfinger by Shirley Bassey.
Oh,
Here it is. Here's
now
the good Shirley
we're talking
Bassey.
the top 10, and Shirley Bassey with Goldfinger for a generation of people is Bond. My very first film was Goldfinger on a Saturday afternoon, and immediately when you hear that
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, and you're just like, whoa, this is going to be a very different film. And she captures you at the very beginning and keeps you all the way through the song. That's what some of our other Bond themes are missing, I think,
Mhm.
is
They don't grab you.
they don't grab you and keep you. Goldfinger grabs you and keeps you, and it tells you basically what's about to happen.
It tells you a lot about the villain. She also, the last note that she holds out for forever, she also held that note out far too long and wound up passing out in the recording booth.
Here's a hint. Don't. If you're a singer, if there's a fermata at the end of the Bond song you're about to do,
Take a deep breath.
make sure that you've exercised and ate well and you have all the lung capacity you could possibly have.
Please don't pass out. We don't need that.
Right.
All right. At number 8, we have Living Daylights by
Okay, one hit wonder from Take On Me, and they were the hot property again during this time. I love this
I
song
do
for
too.
Bond. I just absolutely love it. It is akin to some of the other classic songs that we'll talk about that are on higher up, but it's you just it matches the film, it matches the time period. It begins it in our ranking. It begins showing you how film and song really just tie together to become the music becoming a character in and of itself.
I love Living Daylights. At number 7, we have Nobody Does It Better by Carly Simon from The Spy Who Loved Me.
Carly Simon, drop the mic. I mean, that's all you have to say, really. This is,
She was the 80s darling,
and
wasn't
it
she?
was the theme. It was the title of the song. It was the theme of this song, if I remember correctly, ran as kind of an underscore all the
Yes.
way through the film.
John Barry incorporated it into the film
And
score.
it really was one of the first. It and All Time High really became in the late 70s, early 80s, the beginning of Bond being a top 40 hit maker.
I remember one of the AT40s that I listened to. I was a little bit surprised. I'm like, Dad, is that a Bond theme? He's like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, cool. So yeah, nobody does it better.
Nobody does it
I,
better.
I get
Nobody does it better than Carly Simon too.
I get it all time high confused
I
because
know.
they don't have the titles. So I was sitting here praying that I got the correct thing, but the way I remember them is that Nobody Does It Better has the spy who loved me
Right.
is keeping all my secrets safe tonight, and then it goes into the chorus. All right, I'm sorry for that. At number 6, we have A View to a Kill by Duran Duran.
I love the band Duran Duran, and they
Duran.
have they are one of the they are
New
two
Wave?
or three no, there are two or three of the bands of Bond
Mhm.
that weren't one hit wonders. Shirley Bassey had several hits other than the Bond stuff. Um, Duran Duran had several hits other than the Bond stuff. Some would argue even Billie Eilish has hits.
So does Sam Smith by unfortunately the generation behind me
Again,
in that.
that's a
But
conversation for
that's a
another time.
personal opinion thing.
But Duran Duran has these hits that are still played on the radio, and they were the absolute perfect matchup for this Bond because
This Bond is
costuming.
nuts.
This Bond is a
This
little
one
bit.
was Roger Moore's last.
It was really just. I mean, the song matched the film, matched the costuming, matched the plot, matched the it was just it was
I
all
have another fun fact. I remember reading in the trivia last time we did our Bondathon, which is what we call our Bond marathons, that Duran Duran and John Barry did not get along, and so John Barry just about nearly quit the film because he
wow.
was either them or Aha, and I think it was Duran Duran. But they aggravated John Barry so much that he either actively tried to get them fired or very nearly quit the film himself because he was so done.
Wow.
I think it was Duran Duran, but it might have been Aha. I let me know in the comments below if you know for certain.
There's also a great documentary on the music of Bond. If you'd like to know more about the orchestrations, John Barry, and some of the other principal composers who are writing today's modern classical music. We've highlighted some of them in our two now classical our composer countdowns. And so John Barry, there's a Bond documentary about the music of Bond. Can't remember where I streamed it from. Google it. But Duran Duran, perfect matching for this film.
All right.
Great song. Great song.
At number 5, we have Golden Eye by Tina Turner from Golden Eye.
Tina Turner, I mean, what more can you say? What I mean, you add Adam Clayton and Bono from U2
Oh,
as
right, I forgot
background
they were.
singers.
Yeah,
That's right,
yeah.
they were collaborators on the song. You're talking three of the biggest names in music history collaborating for this song.
The horns.
And it was Pierce Brosnan's first outing, which is something that many fans have been longing for. So you've got this incredibly good, great song to launch the Bond that people have been asking for. And it really, GoldenEye is just outstanding as a song.
Those horns. You had me at the horns. All right, at number 4, we have For Your Eyes Only by Sheena Easton from For Your Eyes Only. I love this song.
Before you saw her on Miami Vice, her baby took the morning train. That's how I knew Sheena Easton before this song came about. She had one hit before Bond, and then her head was on the opening credits all the way through this Bond. She was the only artist
Oh, I
whose
forgot.
face was featured on the singing
During.
during the opening credits, and she's singing her song. Beautiful song, absolutely beautiful song. Um, she didn't have a large number of hits, as large as some of the other artists on our ranking, but she had some real good stuff. I liked Morning Train when it came out. I loved For Your Eyes Only, and she nailed it. Just absolutely nailed it.
All right, we're in our top three now. I want to make this known. This is where Dad and I had the hardest of time agreeing. I kid you not. We had to get my mother to come in and break our tie because we were at the biggest of stalemates on this top three. So thanks, Mom. But I did want to let y'all know we kind of disagree on these, but Mom broke the tie and it broke my way. So just that as our little disclaimer going forward. We did agree to this, but we did have to have a tiebreaker.
Top three.
So number three, we have "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney and Wings from "Live and Let Die."
You may be wondering, why, oh, why is this not number one? I confess, I'm wondering it myself. But Live and Let Die, not a great film. It is kind of every stereotype you would think about from New Orleans, and it features some of the most absurd car stunts ever known to mankind. That
Also the
being said,
stupidest villain death.
Paul McCartney and Wings.
Yeah.
When we were young, and your heart was an open book. I mean, you you just Paul McCartney. I mean, the Beatles, Wings, his solo career, and it's a great song. This song orchestrally, this song lyrically, this song vocally matches the movie and the excitement that you're hoping will come. I don't know that that excitement ever really came because, like Kristen said, it's one of the most absurd killings of a Bond villain in
Speak
any
a
of
balloon.
it. Don't spoil it,
Sorry.
you know. But if you need something, if you just want to listen to Paul McCartney, watch the opening credits.
All right, at number two, this is where we argued the most. At number two, we have "You Know My Name" by Chris Cornell from Casino Royale.
Reestablishing Bond as a franchise
Mhm.
with the blonde bomb Daniel Craig. Um, it was his it was his opening film for Casino Royale. It was his opening Bond outing, and the song is out of this world good. Out of this world good. It sets up the new thing. I'm going to tell you, if they do as well song wise with the whoever the new Bond's going to be, and
Which
we hope that the song does as good a job launching him as James Bond as You Know My Name did in launching Daniel Craig. Now, here's where we differ a little bit. I think Daniel Craig is one of the he's probably middle of the pack Bond wise. Um, and so I think that's one of the reasons why um,
Don't be wrong. I love this song. I wanted it to be in the top three as well. But I think our
number
number
one.
one
No, you're right. You're right. It's a better song.
is so stinking good. It harkens back to Shirley Bassey. It is sung by one of the best singers of my generation,
Yep.
and it won like 5 Grammys. It won
You're
all the
you're
Grammys.
absolutely right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Skyfall by Adele from Skyfall at number one.
It is one of these cinematic songs that you immediately identify with the film. It is her voice is beautiful on it. It's written well. It is just Skyfall by Adele comes almost as close to identifying Bond as Goldfinger does
Wow.
for a different generation. Okay, every generation and every iteration of Bond has that song who says, "Oh yeah, that was Timothy's. Oh yeah, that was Pierce's. Oh yeah, that was."
Daniels,
Rogers.
Rogers,
Oh
Sean's.
yeah, that was Sean's, Daniels, George's, even to a certain
I mean,
extent.
that's how I identified On Your Majesty's Secret
Right,
Service.
right. So you've got to realize that Skyfall for this current generation identifies who
James
Bond
Bond.
is. And it harkens back to his childhood and gives us a little bit of a backstory there that they'd never really ever explored in the films, which I thought was really, really neat. Really neat.
So there you have it. Our ranking of the James Bond theme songs.
The songs of Bond.
How did we do? Were we nuts? Probably. Do y'all agree that Skyfall's the best? I imagine a lot of you do. Do y'all think again that we're missing out on some of these, that we're sleeping on some of these hits? Maybe we are. Explain to us why we're wrong, or tell us just how right we are down in the comment section below. Be sure you leave us a like, leave us a comment, as I said, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you're aware every time we upload.
And don't forget, join us every other week or so. We'll have a new video ready to go. Maybe on a topic you like, maybe something that you're not really fond of, but watch us for a few minutes anyway, just to see if there's a hook that perhaps you are interested in.
We're
And
always having fun, so.
always,
But until next time, I'm Kristen.
I'm Randy and from the Crossing King Garage. Have a great week.